Just about to go live.
All right, so it is 7:02, so I'll call the meeting to order. Does anyone have any comments or things to add to the meeting? I'm Charlie Vincent, president of the board. Does anyone have any items to add to the agenda that they see? If not, we'll go into public comment. Does anyone have any members of the public have anything to add or? Not, no pressure, no worries. If nothing for public comment, we'll go to approval of minutes and kick it over to Amanda or.
Oh, that's right, I did do the last one. I forgot already. All right, so as you guys all reviewed the minutes, I didn't have any changes that need to be made other than what we discussed with Jenna, but we fixed it. That's fixed. Anybody have any questions? I think it's a fair representation of what we did last month. Okay.
So, motion to approve the minutes of the March 18th, 2025 library board. Motion from Mary, comments, discussion? Seeing none, second. Got Amanda, all in favor? 7, so 7-0, motion approved, minutes are approved, and we'll move to treasurer reports to Nicole.
So we have a few motions as usual. This month was a pretty typical month spending wise. Everything is within budget or under. Areas that are under budget are because of charges and fees that will improve later in the year that we're planning on. The largest expenses this month, Jill, correct me if I'm wrong, I think were construction related, but that's also all within budget and going according to plan. I know last month we talked a little bit about National Grid, but that seemed back to closer to in budget.
It's closer, it's dropping, it's
Yep.
still higher than last year, but it is dropping. It's still 40% higher than this time last year, but it's a couple $1,000 less than last month.
60%, yeah, so this is, that's
Dropping.
dropping. Yeah, and there wasn't really anything out of the ordinary in this month. So, do you want me to read the motion? Okay, so there's a motion to accept the off warrant in the amount of $162,470.06 for the period of March 12th, 2025 to April 9th, 2025 as presented.
Got Katie, any discussion, comments? If not, second. All right, we've got Kayla, all in favor? We've got 7-0, and the motion passes.
There is another motion to authorize the president to sign the warrant for the period of March 12th, 2025 to April 9th, 2025 in the amount of $18,336.35.
Motion. Okay, Katie, any comments or discussion? Second. Mary, all in favor? Okay, that looks to be 7-0. Okay, so warrant is approved. And finally,
Yeah, sorry, and I should have said this, the year is 27.12% completed and our budget is within that range. So there's a motion to approve the April 9th, 2025 financials with 27.12% of the year completed as presented.
we've got a motion from Amanda. Any discussion or comments? Okay, second from, I guess, Kayla. Okay, all in favor? Okay, 7-0, so that motion for the financials is approved. And we'll move to committee reports, and then I'll give the committee report for services. So you see here, a summary thanks to Jenna's awesome work here for pulling it together. The major, kind of two major pieces to discuss, we discussed at the meeting on the 14th. The first was finalizing all the pieces of the staff manual that were still open. Huge thanks to Paychex and Jill for pulling that together and getting that all squared away. So you see there the summary of the major pieces kind of we talked about and worked through as we did the collective red lines and edits to the staff manual. And the second item we talked about was discussing the Friends fundraiser, and we made the decision in the committee to not move forward with alcohol for the fundraiser in the fall. So the one motion to come out, and then there's a couple other items too that we're gonna carry forward to the next meeting. And the one motion for the committee is to approve the April 2025 employee handbook, which was in there, was sent out with the.
It was emailed out.
Yeah, in fact, it's a pretty voluminous document, but we know the staff is excited to have that on the books. So motion to approve the April 2025 employee handbook, which will replace the 2010 staff manual. Motion from Kayla. Any discussion, comments?
Are we going to revise it every year going forward, or are we planning to just like, I know besides the automatic updates that Paychex is gonna do, are we gonna take it on every year just as is and like revisit it and make sure it's how we still want to?
Yeah, every year I'll look at it and present any changes as needed.
Okay.
And it should be done before the budget process.
Yeah, because we don't wanna have another 15-year-old
Nope.
policy manual again. That's why I was asking, make sure we don't have that long gap.
Agreed.
Right, thanks for that, Amanda. Any other questions or comments? If not, second on the motion. Cammy? Yep, perfect. Okay, so all in favor? And it looks like 7-0, so the motion is approved. And
So that just, we're having a full staff meeting coming up, so that will be presented to staff at our full staff meeting, which is May 9th. So that way, the handbook, that way we can go through all the changes. So our current one will be
yeah,
for the 9th.
yeah. Okay. All right, we'll move on to admin. Amanda.
We had a lot of stuff we went over last month and we, got pretty far with that. The website project, we have a vendor for that. It's well within budget and they're gonna restructure the library's website. I'm not sure if we had a start date for them yet or not, but
We actually already started, we had our kickoff meeting last week.
very good. So, and then, we have, I'm gonna skip to the things that don't have motions, and I'll come back to the other ones. The community way, as you all know, is riddled with potholes, or it was, it's being worked on. A major repair project is coming soon, we're just waiting on numbers for further repairs. The big potholes cost about $9,000, it was split between the 3 entities that own the road, so I mean, it's still a good chunk, but at least it's a smaller chunk.
Can I ask a question about the potholes? Is there someone who does these repairs like regularly or?
HMA contracting is who the Y has been working with this year, so they take the lead on road contractual work.
So this isn't something that.
So we don't have to go out to bid for that, the Y does that for the road and then bills us.
So we haven't, you guys met after this billing cycle, so I see that we split the cost, but it
We
didn't
haven't
show up
received a
this
bill
month.
yet, yeah, but the work has been done, although there's still some minor potholes that were not fixed, they fixed the major ones, so I'm gonna go back and find out if they can come back and fix the smaller potholes, if not, I'll call somebody.
So I'm gonna jump back to number 2 on my report, which is the Friends and the Library memorandum of agreement. Reviewed and made a couple of adjustments. checks, the biggest things, checks are gonna be paid to the Friends of the East Greenbush Library twice a year instead of on a yearly basis. And the Friends will provide volunteer support as needed and as requested by the library director. That being said, and I believe the MOU was included in the packet, so you all had a chance to review it. Are there any questions on the MOU before we do the motion, or we'll wait till the motion part? Otherwise, then we'll do motion to authorize the director to sign the memorandum of agreement or understanding between the Friends of the East Greenbush Community Library and the East Greenbush Community Library as presented. Carlos.
Yeah, make a motion.
Shall I make the
Your
motion?
second.
Oh.
I guess, oh, right,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
committee makes the
Yeah,
motion, that's
yeah,
right.
yes.
Okay, so Charlie second. Any questions, comments? Okay, all right, so all in favor? 6, 7, 0. You couldn't quite see Cammy's arms, but. Okay. 7, 0, so that one's all set. The next one is, the health insurance and life insurance. As everyone knows, health insurance costs keep going up no matter what entity you are, school, government, public, private, it all sucks. So we discussed what we can do to help with our employees, and so we did agree to increase the contribution rates to 15%, 20%, 23%. First on the plans that we have, that we offer. These will take effect with July 1. We also looked into that we decided that we could do it with still remaining inside the budget. So that's what we're hoping to approve tonight. So the committee is, sorry, they're slightly out of order, so I have to which one? Motion to approve the library's contribution rates towards health insurance be the following, which the current participation rate is within budget. Individual is $1,006 per month. Employee plus spouse is $1,121 a month, and family is $1,380 a month.
So I had a question. Do you need a motion first?
No, I did the motion.
Oh,
So, no, that's okay. The committee moves to do that.
so it says that at the current participation rate, and then it's effective July. Next year, our budget cycle is January to January, so how do we know that the participation will be within budget for July or January through July?
And we talked about this, that was a question that came up in committee as well. And the thing is, the participation rate hasn't varied very much since, I wouldn't say the dawn of time, but the last few years. It's pretty much remained static. With new people coming and going, the amount has been pretty flat and pretty static, other than the premium increases. So I think that we're budgeting that way and thinking it should still be okay, but obviously we can always, after July 1, we'll see how many people have enrolled. We'll still be able to put that into next year's budget if we suddenly have an uptick in number of enrollees per plan.
And what did we end up deciding about a buyout? Or is that still something we haven't made a final decision about?
We haven't discussed that.
I thought we said
You did.
no.
We said
We did.
no,
Oh,
okay,
yeah, we did say no.
okay, I just needed a reminder.
What are the current contribution rates right now?
I believe it was 10%.
Yeah.
So
So for what?
the
Which
current
one?
contribution rates are $890, $1,000, and $1,400. Rates right now have gone up between, is it in the minutes, 12 to 20? It should be in the
15,
minutes.
20, and 23.
15, 20, and 23% for increased rates. So these contribution rates have gone up 15%. We presented a couple different options, and the admin committee chose 15%. With current contributions, including paid family leave, it looks like our total estimated health is at, for this year, would be at approximately 134,000. And our budget is, I wanna say
Like 156 or something, I think.
155.9, so we're still well within, budget right now, even with these updates. You never know with, we can't, that's why we say with the current contribution rate, or the current participation, because there's a significant number of people who don't take health insurance who are eligible for health insurance, and that could always change, and that would be where we would go. If something like that were to happen, what we would have to do is move into our operational contingency.
But July 1 still gives us time to plan for next year.
Right, for next year, but that's what we would have to do for this year if that were to happen. It's unlikely. So my finances, I just wanted to give you the update of what's in the operational contingency. So right now we have 401,000 in our operational contingency account. In that account, now this is the account that we would use if we lost a contract, anything significant that were to happen. We've been kind of building our reserves for that purpose. This would be if we had unemployment insurance, because we are self-insured for unemployment, or if we weren't able to make something up within our budget, some expense, like National Grid or something like that. Although these things, it looks like we're gonna be able to make adjustments within our budget for things like that. We're monitoring it, and we might need to make some changes within our budget. We haven't had to use it for anything other than unemployment if that were to happen. But that's what that's there for.
So we don't know what the contribution rates are now, that's in this motion would be going up to 15%, 20%, and 23%. So are they,
No.
are they at like 4%,
No.
10%, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's
So-
what I'm-
Okay, so the way the library's health insurance works is we provide a flat amount to employees and they choose whichever plan they want. So those are the different plans that we offer. And so just the renewals for those plans, if we were to offer not have any increases in our library contribution right now, then our employees would bear the cost of those increases. The 15, the 12, whatever they are. So what the committee is proposing is that the library will increase our contribution, and it ends up to being 15% for employees. Typically, we do it every 3 years. We're doing it a year early right now because the rates are so significant. Change.
I don't foresee health insurance coming down, so I guess the committee will then just discuss like a general bigger
Whether we
picture
wanna
plan.
still do every
Yeah.
3 years or do it
Yeah.
every year, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't know that it's sustainable to do an increase in that every year either, I don't know.
It's balancing
Yeah,
a cost between employees and staff. When we give a 3%
yeah,
increase and your health insurance is going up 15%, you're getting a pay cut to stay on
right,
payroll.
yeah.
So it's really, we have to take care of our staff and we can afford to do it, so.
What was the reasoning for doing it now at this time versus any other time?
Enrollment opens up soon for the July 1 renewal. So you make the changes at the open enrollment time, so we'll open enrollment in May. For July 1.
Your open enrollment starts in July?
The new health insurance year is July, it's July
Oh, right.
1 through June
So it's not
30th every year,
always
so
like
it
the-
always
all right.
spans 2 fiscal years.
I don't think that term, it seemed like a reasonable like give within budget, but like a good faith attempt that might go a long way. Employees, I think.
I have no objection to it, it's just, like the thinking, going forward.
It is gonna be tricky going forward because as you said, it's not gonna go back down, but right now, this is something we can control at this time.
Yeah.
And with everything that's going on, you don't know like what's gonna happen with 401ks or like other things that they might be putting money into. This is something we can say, look, this is something we can do for you right now.
If you don't try to work on it now, the gap becomes bigger now.
Exactly.
It's harder to
Exactly.
give parity to it, so it's easier to kind of combat it now. If
So it really
yeah.
should be maybe something that's looked at annually as
Yeah.
opposed to every 3 years.
We do discuss it every year, but we may consider more of an annual adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? Okay, so we're looking for a second on that motion. Let me Charlie vote second. And any other questions, comments, last chance? Okay. All in favor? 7-0, so that motion passes. And that's, Jill, that's just something that paychecks will take care of, right? Or is that part of something so like?
We work with Marshall and Sterling, our
Oh.
insurance broker, yep, we'll take care of that internally with them.
And then, all right, so motion number 3. We had a lot to do with this one. As you saw in the packet, the current open position is for an assistant director. It's not listed yet. But the reason why it's not listed yet is because there's no place to put that person. So, like no office space, none of that. So they've been trying to figure out where they're gonna put this person if we get them. We can't really do a permanent, like reorganization, like permanent structures back in the office. So like a short term, which I was before, it's not actually like short term, it's long and durable, but it's meant for like brief periods of time, it's like couple years or so, or things like that. So we're looking at a cubicle with walls in the door. And if you looked in the packet, you saw the map that we were talking about. Not a huge area, but like it doesn't require tearing down walls or like building on additional things. According to the information received, it's gonna cost about $19,000 to set up. So we tried to figure out where the best place to be to get the funds to make that happen would be. Discussed a couple of options, and we decided that we would like to, and here's the motion, the administrative committee moves to authorize the director to allocate up to $25,000 from non-restricted capital reserves towards office renovations and to proceed with the project. So,
And that includes the HER fund, right? Isn't that?
We could use the HER fund, the recommendation is to use non-restricted capital reserves. So if you look at our balance sheet. We have 55,000 in HER, 498,000 in non-restricted capital reserve, and 401 in operational contingency. Those are all our non-restricted funds outside of our operating funds. And then, of course, we have our restricted funds for restricted capital and restricted gift. So just since that meeting, just to bring you in, I was supposed to have another meeting with the architect today, but something happened and we weren't able to meet. We did discuss if we were to, instead of creating a whole different office space, if we were to enclose that space completely and with walls instead of the semi-permanent cubicle walls, because the cubicle walls still don't go all the way to the ceiling. I'm waiting on a quote for that to see what that is, but he thought it's potentially, he thought closer to 30, potentially lower. So I just wanna throw that out there as an all, because if we are gonna do something temporary and it's close enough in cost, then maybe we move in that direction. The original plans to consider creating an office out of our storage space and moving everything really needed a lot, it was a lot. The costs were much higher because of firewalls and sprinklers that needed to be moved, and there's of course HVAC that needs to be changed, electrical. Think we'll be okay with electrical because there's already a current desk there. We're just moving another cubicle area over in the drive-through area. So anyways, there's a possibility for that. So we have the quote for the furniture cost for the walls, that's $19 some odd thousand. And then there would be any additional costs for electrical if we needed to move any electrical outlets. And then there's a consideration for can we actually enclose it so that it is private, which really, because there's no meeting space that's just for staff, that we're not taking away from public meeting space, it makes it tricky to have cubicles without, it'd have a door, but I thought it was gonna go all the way up to the ceiling, and it's not gonna go all the way up to the ceiling, so it does make it not really a private space. So really the only private office would be the HR office and my office, unless we were to enclose this, so that's another thing to.
How high up does it go? Cause I thought it was pretty high.
It is pretty high, it's higher than
Are we talking like
the current walls.
7 feet, or are we talking like?
It's about a 3, did you say 3 feet? Do you remember? It was about,
That was 3 feet. And how high are the ceilings?
I don't know that off the top of my head, sorry. It's based on whatever the cubicle, whatever the walls come in, whatever sizes they come in.
Cause I'm not.
So we could put like a skirting up there, which is something that, I asked about if you could put a skirting up there, and it just means, but it wouldn't be
Private.
It wouldn't be private. I think personally, if it's around 30,000, then I think we should consider a permanent office. If it's 50,000, which is what my original costs came in, then I think we need to move with the semi-permanent office.
So this says option 2 on the, what was option 1?
Oh, they were just different layouts.
Oh.
So this is the best layout, it's hard to try to fit in.
Well, I didn't know if
That back
there was an
area.
option. Yeah.
Right.
The other option was to cut off most of the hallway that's right next to that.
Yes,
And that was not feasible for carts or anything like that.
right,
So it didn't make sense. That's why we have option 2.
And they're also considering like lighting. I mean, I don't know how much natural light you would cut off if you applied. Would you? I'm looking windows there.
There's no windows there, so, and there's a light overhead. If it's the temporary, or I shouldn't say temporary, it's semi-permanent, it's a cubicle.
Yeah.
It's a cubicle with a door, it just doesn't have a ceiling. So if we were to put the semi-permanent office space in there, we wouldn't have to have new lighting or HVAC at all.
We'll be adjusting, because it says for 3 spaces, so there's people sitting in certain spaces.
They have to be adjusted.
You'd have to adjust.
People will
That's
have to
what-
move, yeah. So there will be one more workspace that will be moved to the other side, closest to the drive-through window.
This is where Jenna more or less sits right now, right?
No, this is the other opposite side.
Okay. Over here, right?
It's right, yeah, it's right on the other side of the lockers.
Yeah, I was turned around too. I
Yeah.
thought the same thing as you.
Yeah.
So in the position, the reason that we are prioritizing that location is because this position is a public service position. The folks that'll be reporting to them will be the head of youth services, the head of adult services, and the head of borrower services. So they really need to kind of like bridge the gap between admin and public services. So that's why we didn't want them in the spot closest to the drive-through window, because that's far away from the public. We'd like them to be out engaging with the community.
Any other questions?
I guess we're still waiting on, so are we voting on this or waiting on you getting?
Well, we're voting to authorize her to spend up to 25,000. I think if she needs to come, if you get that $30,000 quote, you're gonna come back to us.
Yeah.
So,
If it's more than 25,000, we have to go out to bid anyways, you know, as it is. If it's furniture, we're on the state contract list, we're fine. But
so right now, that's what we're voting is to authorize 25,000. If that quote comes in higher and we have to go out to bid, then she would have to come back to us and authorization, I guess, would just expire, I guess.
my goal is to get this moving because costs are not gonna go down right now. So if we can place an order,
Right.
you know, and get under contract ASAP, I think we're gonna, in the long run, save us money. And also I'd like to get somebody in here. Realistically, it'll be after summer. But I'd like to post the position before summer if possible, so that we can get someone up and. I'm ready to post. We've got the job description, you know, we've got everything ready to
Just need a
post.
place.
I just need a place for them.
So does this have to be me before this person were to start, or could this person kind of start knowing that this is in the works?
We have to really consider that. I'm not sure. You know, the option would be for them to either start in her room or a meeting room and take up meeting room space, or share an office with me. But there's no other location to put them in.
So your
it's not-
priority is the space, like I
My
know we've been
priority is the
waiting for
space.
an assistant director for a long time. And that said, your priority is still the space, so that
I think,
really is how important the space.
I think the space is very
Yes.
important
Okay.
to be able to fill this position. We have tried to just vision many different ways to move things around to fit another space, and it's just not doable.
I can't get it in my head. If we authorize $25,000 and then it goes over.
She gets
We
to
can't
come
start.
back.
Then I
Yeah,
can't start
that's-
until next month.
So we're saying if you can do it for $25,000 or less, we're okay with it, whichever option, but if it's more than that.
So you're not gonna do anything until you hear back, so it's not like we're authorizing 25 and then you're gonna come back and say, oh, I need, you know.
I'm not going to move forward with a permanent structure if I don't know that it falls under the 25,000 without coming back to you. If I know that the cost, you know, I had hoped to have those costs today. That was the plan, was I was supposed to have that at the meeting today. I didn't get it, so if it's not reasonable, then I'd like to move forward ASAP with the other option. Which is before our meeting last week, where we asked other questions about, you know, can we just enclose this? Why do we have to? You know? And could we possibly get it lower? What could we do? You know, we'd have to, I mean, to be able to do that, we'd have to do painting ourselves. Like there would be, we'd have to reuse furniture that we have, you know, like we wouldn't be able to. It's not gonna be all brand new, you know, to be able to get the cost low, we'd have to really go to the bare bones with it. you know, typically you go in the ceiling, above the ceiling with walls, maybe we wouldn't be able to go all the way in the ceiling, you know, we'd have to cut some costs to bring it to the $30,000 amount. I don't even know if that's feasible. That was the question I asked. Can you make this feasible?
Is it the same architect that's working on the,
Yes. Yeah.
and so what are their,
So they know that now, once we had the furniture consultant come in and give us the pricing, that was a little more than it was also a little more than we thought it might be. Now he knows what those costs are, so we can try to see the other costs. So he needed to go to contractor to get pricing.
this is outside the scope of our current construction.
It's outside the scope of our current construction project. This is something that, at this point, we're just asking for his assistance with.
It's okay, what this is for. We're gonna miss all your questions.
I'll send them in. Write in a question.
Anybody else? Okay, great. Alright. Alright, all in favor, wait, I need a second. Travis in second, all in favor? Alright, motion passes. We'll see what happens.
Thank you. Before I get started, just wanted to call your attention to this hot off the press poster we have for the free for all film screening that we will be having here at the library. I think I talked about it last month. This is a screening by Dawn Lodgson and Lucy Faulkner, and it is all about the library movement from, you know, back before libraries were free. Libraries started out as institutions for the wealthy and the elite, and there's been a lot of work to make them free for communities, and this is all about the historical challenges back. It's, you know, up until now, we're facing renewed contentious environment with books and freedom of information. So we thought it was timely. This is being released by PBS. We are going to do a screening here, and we're going to combine that with a behind the scenes tour, and all of our department heads as well as myself are going to have a Q&A available. So I would encourage, I watched this, I've watched it twice. It's a phenomenal film. I think you guys in particular will really enjoy this because of all the work that you've been doing for the library, and I highly encourage you to try to come. We'll have two showings, one at 1 o'clock and one at 6 o'clock. Please spread the word. March, strong engagement month. We had, you know, over 12,000 visits. That was a 5% increase from the previous year. Most of the increases are in-person increases. We did have a decrease of the drive-through window, which makes sense. Where we had nearly 500 checkouts though at the drive-through window this month. We were open 31 days, 275 hours. We have been, we're really still prioritizing reaching out to underserved groups through our strategic plan. You know, the goal number one, build community connections. Our meeting spaces are still in demand. We had 112 events in our community rooms last month that were community events, not library sponsored. And then we had 33 adult programs, 34 youth programs, 1 all ages program, and 412 one-to-one services at the library last month. That's all library sponsored. 2,893 community members participated. That's a 30% increase from the same time last year. We also had 135 new library cards registrations, which I thought was great. We had kindergarten visits, so we always give them new library cards. We are looking right now for funding for a sensory story time. We've been shopping for some grants for that, and we have gotten some private money coming in for that. Books by mail through Upper Hudson Library System, that is in place and working. We have, I believe we have 4 participants right now, and only Albany Public out of all the libraries in the system have more participants than that, so I guess we're doing a good job getting the word out. But we can still, you know, as of right now, that's still free, that is federally funded, so we'll get the word out while it's still there. We're working on partnering with Hawthorne Ridge for intergenerational partnering. Amy and Alexis, our youth services and outreach, met with them over there, and they are looking at beginning with either a Lego event or an ice cream social, so that'll be great.
There, doing
At
there.
Hawthorne Ridge,
Oh, nice.
yes, yep. Let's see. Medicare enrollment programs continue to be a hot topic. We had 55 people attend our Medicare sessions last month.
And on came.
Did she?
Yeah, it all of a sudden made so much more sense,
Really?
so.
Oh, good.
Yep.
Good. We also had a community advisory council meeting, so we always get fantastic feedback from our community advisory council. They're remaining active. Property tax inquiries are on the rise, so you know we're helping navigate all of that for the community, directing them to what they needed to do. Let's see what else. We kicked off our website redesign, as we talked about before. We have, the good thing is we're gonna be well within our budget for that. It came in much lower than we had originally, you know, from our, we took our time to really investigate, and we're able to find some much lower costs with a great company. So we're excited about that project. Let's see, year-long reading challenge is over. So that was the first year of our year-long reading challenge. You know that we always do our seasonal reading challenges, and those are all always really great. We had nearly 400 readers in our year-long reading challenge. So that was a success. People really want it. You'll get a report in your next month's packet for how that went, some of the feedback, because we did, you know, survey everyone after the feedback for that. Streaming and ebooks, you know, our digital usage continues to grow. 9% increase over last year with the number of materials downloaded or streamed. Print is continuing to drop a little bit, particularly for adults. Youth services print is not dropped. We had 1,508 reference questions in March, 15 story times, averaging 50 plus community members at story times. We're still working on our inclusive initiatives, like we're doing the inclusible games here. Right now we have a staff member running it. We're still looking for a community member to run that volunteer. Our staff visited Bring on the Spectrum to see what kind of services they have, and we learned we had some great training from Bring on the Spectrum, you know, things that we brought back that will help us as we're implementing programming here. 4,800 books were read last month through our youth reading programs. So you guys know about the One Stop Career Center. I think I gave you something. If you didn't get any materials, please take some, pass them around to the community. This is we're a satellite office from Rensselaer County. One staff will be here once a month at the library. It begins March 12th. We've already had a few people sign up, so that's great. That's gonna be a fantastic resource here.
Is the county marketing that as well? Do you know?
They should be marketing it. I haven't seen it personally myself, but that is part of our partnership agreement. AI for small businesses class, we had 7 attendees. Staff have been training on AI tools, you know, that's just rapidly changing, and we're just trying to see what it means for us and how to use it effectively and what not to do and safety and all of that. One of the areas in the our last goal, the advanced local economic vitality goal that we are working on right now that's upcoming, we don't have anything concrete planned, but we're working on outreach to home-based businesses. So if you have we would like to have a meetup for those who have home-based businesses. So if you have friends or community members that you know who have a home-based business, please put them in touch with me or Alexis so that we can have them on our list. We can add them to our list to reach out to when we start that. Operationally, we're in a solid place. Staffing has been stable for many months. Construction's progressing well. Out of the total project cost, just shy of $700,000, we've paid $239,000. The project remains on budget. Exterior lighting was completed this week. The work on the EFS is in progress. Doesn't it look so much better already?
Wait, what am I missing?
The EFS, you didn't see it?
No, I didn't see
You have
it.
to look.
So
Yeah, it's clean.
Which stuff? The back?
So they started power washing last week to prepare to, you know, to remove all the.
I did.
Already.
Yeah. No, it looks so, I drove by and I was like, oh, it's clean.
Yeah.
We had to power wash all the biologicals off to be able to spray and put the new EFS finish on. So they did the power washing last week. They've been doing the EFS. They're starting to replace the EFS now, and it's a marked improvement. Yes.
Tell Michael.
I know.
So of course, the assistant director role is the big kind of piece right now to get us to move in that next step, capacity wise internally. We have, we're submitting several award nominations to Upper Hudson for the 2024 annual awards. Next month, we should be learning more about when the annual meeting, unless you have information. Also, I'll let Tammy talk about that annual meeting. This week I'll be doing, on Thursday night, I'm going over to Upper Hudson to give a QuickBooks 101 training for other libraries, smaller libraries who are looking for a low cost, easy way to track their finances. Some of the libraries are still using Excel, and so they really need some help with that, smaller libraries. So I'm gonna go give them a training. That's one of the nice things that's come out of having to jump in for a few months here, so now I can give the training on there. Reminder that the library will be closed on Monday for Staff Development Day. We're focusing on safety, community resources, and team building.
Thank you.
Also the AUD, so the annual financial report, that is due on May 1st. I posted a draft on Teams. It's under review with our auditors right now before we press the final submission. So that should be submitted this week. And you can retroactively approve it at the May meeting.
We can see it on Teams now.
You can see it now on Teams, yeah. Beginning work on the 2026 budget. Right now, in particular, it's the capital projects. That's really what we're working on right now, getting proposals for that. Admin will be discussing it next month. The portal for the New York State construction grants, assuming that there are no changes, the construction grant program for libraries is funded through the state. It's not federal funding, which is great. But our Division of Library Development is federally funded through IMLS, which has, been chopped. So it remains to be seen what will happen. So far, there hasn't been like a trickle down. The funding hasn't been actually removed from our state, as far as I'm aware of yet. Some states have had clawbacks of funding. We haven't seen that yet. We're waiting to see. And then, of course, there might be some, we don't know what might come of the construction grant program. Would that be run by DASNY? Would they have the capacity to do that? It's a pretty major program with all the libraries across the state. Would it be put on hold? We don't know. So, but as of right now, the portal opens June 1st. The preliminary deadline is August 1, but the final deadline is September 1. So I'm getting all the stuff together for our next construction project. And that's really the biggest, the biggest things that I'm personally working on right now is a lot of facility stuff, and over the next few years, it'll be facilities and financial, but, thanks to the hard work of our amazing staff, we're doing a lot of really fantastic, phenomenal programs right now, and they're adjusting and adapting, and just like we did during COVID, we will, use our favorite term, pivot, and we'll see what comes around the corner, but as of right now, we are, we're doing okay. We're doing more than okay, we're doing phenomenal. Things like this, right now, this project is still going through. This is federal fund, there's all kinds of funding that will impact us through all of our partners. And we'll see what happens. But as of right now, we haven't had any direct hits for the moment.
I wanted to thank whoever was involved in the marketing piece for helping recruit trustees. I don't know.
Oh, great. Susan, I will,
okay, at least, yeah.
I will pass that on.
Very much appreciated seeing that.
I think we're gonna talk about that at the end of the night too. Yeah, I will pass that on. She did a great job.
Yeah, she really did.
All right, perfect. So let's go to Jamie for updates.
Okay, so the Upper Hudson Library System has a new director, so the board voted and we selected, his name is Christopher Sagas. He lives in Albany, but yes, he commutes every day to be the director at the Utica Public Library. He is amazing, I don't know him personally, but his, different people were talking about him. Just a great guy, a librarian from the jump. Just couldn't wait for a position like a library system director to open up. And he's actually a mentor of Joe Burke, who is the Altamont Free Library director. And he's the Directors Association rep for Upper Hudson. So he was, and then there's like the three, like Tim, Joe, and Chris were all mentors to, there's a connection with the three of them. And
They've all worked at Albany Public.
Yeah, Albany Public, right. Joe gave just a really moving, just like a little talk about Chris and just how wonderful he'll be, and it'll just be a great fit for Upper Hudson.
When's he starting?
June 1st.
Mary Fellows is interim.
acting right now.
Yeah, so the annual meeting is June 11th, and that is at the Rev Hall in Troy. And it's really a fun night just to mingle around with other library folks. Here are the awards that are given out that night. So Trustee of the Year, just kidding, Volunteer of the Year, Youth and Family Program of the Year, an adult program of the year. And I gotta tell you, I'm on the finance committee, so, I don't hear all the submissions, but the winners, I mean, these programs are amazing.
Yeah.
The different, what they're doing, the whole team comes up, to get the award, and it's just so great that this is in our community, like, it's really innovative and, just so great. So it's a fun night, you'll get the invite, you'll hear about it, and that's all I have.
Reminder that Julianne, our very own volunteer of the year last year.
Right. Oh,
And
that's
I'm wondering if
right.
she did this year, so I don't know.
Oh.
That's right, I forgot. All right, well, that's all.
Thanks, Erin.
Okay, we had book sale, yay! It was our best sale since the pandemic.
Wow.
We raised over $10,000, which is excellent. I think it was due in large part to Pratt donating 2 signs for us, 2 highway signs. So I thought of a lot of people who were like, oh, hey, there's book sale, let's go check it out. So we had a lot of people that we don't normally get. We sold out of books, which is the craziest thing. We had 2 little flatbeds of books left. I've never seen, the first day we were wiped out. I've never seen that. It was phenomenal. We have great volunteers as always, so we're really excited. So we'll keep the Chris Pratt and our good vibes, and hopefully we'll get him again for our fall sale. We are working with the library on the day that they are closed to start helping them reallocate books. We're trying to increase our ongoing sale space. So I'm very much going to be helping us with that move. We're going to hopefully double our ongoing sales space, which again could have an impact on our fall sale. If we're able to sell more inventory throughout the year, our fall sale will be smaller in a reduced capacity of some sort. So that's our overall goal is to move more books throughout the year and not so much during the book sales. We're also working actively on the night of the library event. We have a meeting on Thursday night. Tomorrow, Wednesday night at 6. We're looking for people to help us with the outreach to different sponsors. We have 2 verbal commitments from 2 sponsors, but we really need to go a long way to getting a lot more sponsors. We're especially looking for that naming sponsor. So it's $2,000 to be the naming sponsor. We want to get them on board so they get the most bang for their buck with getting their name before we even really go out and actively market. And then in May, we'll start doing the outreach for the artists for the silent auction. So we have a lot of things in the works. The shirts are still on sale. They go on sale to the end of May. We've had 10 orders, 11 orders so far. We're also selling the flowers for the Mother's Day, Easter for Mother's Day. And we're looking at Hoffman Car Wash as another fundraiser. So we're hoping every month to have one smaller fundraiser that we're just constantly kind of chipping away at our goals. And then hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have a really solid package, increasing our funding support to the library. So yeah, any questions? Anybody have Jen? This is Jen, my co-chair. She's awesome.
I don't think so.
Okay, and we are gonna be excusing ourselves and playing with your lights at 8 o'clock to see how dark the library looks.
Oh, yeah.
What we can play with, because we needed it to be nighttime so we could see it. So we're waiting for the library to close, so please don't freak out if you see the lights go off in the hallway. It's just us playing with your light switches in 2 minutes. So.
Thank you for all your work.
They will. It's our pleasure.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
Yeah, I came on Sunday to the book sale and I was shocked to see how few boxes there
Yeah.
actually were.
It was wiped out.
I've never seen anything like it. So excited. Did you have a lot of teachers come in?
We had 8 teachers come, and I really feel like it was our teachers that normally come on Saturday just came on Thursday. So I don't feel we got more teachers. I think we just have the same ones on a different day. They were appreciative, but I don't know that it really did what we wanted to do, which was get all the teachers.
My husband wouldn't come because he doesn't have an ID. And I was like, show them a pay stub, say you are my husband, no one will
Yeah.
think you're lying.
Yeah.
And he just couldn't bring himself to do it. But they don't use an ID anymore. I don't know why not, but they don't, and it's the whole thing.
I would have taken him on his word.
Yes, and I believe, I never yes. I know you were here. All right. Jen's
Go see Jen.
Next time.
Nothing from Jim and Tom.
So we're gonna excuse ourselves and go play with
Nothing for unfinished business, but for new business. as Mary mentioned with Susan's outreach last week for trustee recruitment and for friend recruitment. We're gonna do, with the response we had, we're gonna do an ad hoc committee for trustee recruitment. Is anyone, probably 3 folks on that, or judged based on interest? Say,
What do you mean, Charlie,
just like a group to help organize the planning for like the intake of folks, because I got a whole bunch of emails from folks.
okay, that's.
And then,
okay.
yeah, and then just like a game plan for working through the info we got from folks to help.
So there's the
Yeah.
there's the election that's coming up,
Right.
which we go through the regular process for the election.
Yeah.
But we also have Mary, who's generously, filling in. She was elected via write-in without wanting to be write-in for another 5-year term. So she's not leaving us high and dry, but would love to be replaced. So we have some great interest, so
That's great.
kind of like when Amanda joined, we did an interview process, there will be a whole process to interview, so that
So
we'd
just-
like to have a committee involved.
Just anyone who's interested and who meets the criteria by being a resident,
Right.
and all of that, they can run.
Oh, yeah.
So then the purpose of the interview committee is,
For Mary's term.
For Mary's term.
Mary's term.
And then-
because that one won't be voted on?
Well, if she leaves
No, that
now,
can still be voted on.
if
So-
she leaves now, then
Sure, yeah. plenty
is
of-
the finish.
We have
I
to
understand.
appoint to
Okay, gotcha.
finish out.
And then that
And then
person
that
would
person
then
runs
have
for
to
4
run.
years. There would be, with the regular 2 5-year terms and then 1.
So they
4
would
years.
still run,
Yep.
they would not just be like,
No, they'd be
No, I had
appointed
to-
to finish out the remainder
Gotcha.
of this
Okay,
year,
that
and
makes
then they
sense.
would run
Calendar
know.
year?
calendar year, yeah.
Cause I filled out the whole year and then the next year, and then, well, that September, I had to get a packet.
and then I became the 4-year
Yep.
person
You
to
were
replace
filling
you.
my spot, yep. Sort of.
So, and the other piece is also, what a fantastic thing that we have
Yeah.
so many community members that are interested right now. So, if we can kind of share the wealth, so Charlie's we'd like to be able to give them information about the library and what we're doing and what's, what their
We don't wanna drop.
contribution is. We don't wanna drop the ball. We wanna be able to really give our time to effectively communicate what being a trustee is. So we'd like a committee to be able to assist with that, even if it's not for the appointed position. Just to be able to
It seems
assist.
like that's something that we should obviously do in the future, like
Right.
moving forward, at least
Yes.
in terms of sending an email blast and
Right.
promoting it in that way,
Yeah.
because clearly that
So,
was like the missing link.
Well, I'll tell you that it's not that we've never sent email blasts before, but now we're using Patreon Point. So before it was only folks who, well, I'm not sure, but I would think it's probably a combination of what's happening right now. That people feel, I would think.
Get engaged.
That it's a good time to get engaged. But another thing is, we have Patreon Point, which allows us to reach out to anybody in the library that has an email address, versus before the subscription that we were using, we had much more limited population to reach out to. So it's beyond just the print, it's always been the print, put it in the newspaper, put it, on the website, or just put flyers around, and this, it's great. This is another indication of, it helps our programming, everything, having
Well, it
that.
felt like a personal message, like it wasn't like Dear Katie, but it was more personal than me coming across it somewhere, like getting it.
It wasn't like a business ad. It was.
Yeah, it felt targeted, like obviously it went to a lot of people, but it felt more personal than I've ever seen it advertised before, so I think that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very nice ad.
So any folks interested? Yeah, alright, so we've got Kayla, Amanda, Katie, and Mary. Alright, perfect.
Yeah, I just wanna see the nuts and bolts from you,
Yeah.
instead of being on the other side.
Awesome, thanks everyone. Alright, any other business?
I'm gonna say, I do have a question,
Yeah.
do we have to vote on the committee's formation, or we just?
No,
And
Charlie, according to our bylaws, the president can appoint ad hoc committees.
And then so the committee will just have a meeting.
yeah, we'll schedule, figure out
Okay.
time, schedule a meeting.
That was the
Yeah,
second half
yeah,
of the
that
question.
was-
So how's this committee gonna be established, but that's basically it. Okay.
Nothing else, everyone's favorite motion?
Oh, boy.
All right, motion to adjourn the April 22nd, 2025 library board meeting. Motion from Kayla. Any discussion? A second from Mary, all in favor? All right, that is seven approving at 8:06. Thank you, everyone.